So this is what's happening. All right. Now, astrology is all about harmonics. It's all about harmonics. And tonight is a very special night for us to be talking about this because, first of all, the ascendant or the degree that we're starting is conjunct. It means the same degree as the galactic center. So tonight is all about getting in touch with our truth. It's we're starting out on that because the galactic center is in Sagittarius or the last degrees in Fucus if it's in Fucus if it's in sidereal's true sky astrology. But the galactic center being in Sag, it's our particular solar system with its center is based on us discovering the truth of who we are and the source and where we're going. So that is significant about tonight. And also the moon is in the 12th house. The 12th house is our subconscious and everything like that, but it also has to do with on a deep level, we are kind of like looking at our emotions at a deep level to find out where we are aligned with the truth. And it's also in, it's so that's what's happening. So it's kind of like setting the tone for tonight. So we're going to talk about what's happening. Now, many of you have heard the term Lion's Gate, and I have to say that's a pretty recent term. And I'm going to go into why that is significant and what is the real potential of that. Um, I'm not exactly sure. I think when I first started studying astrology many years ago, nobody talked about Lionsgate, and it's a recent popular thing, probably in the next 10 or 15 years. But the real meaning of Lion's Gate is when the sun actually goes into the constellation of Leo, and that is sidereal true sky astrology. So even though the sun is in Leo in Western astrology, we're going into Lion's Gate when the actual sun goes in the actual constellation that we see in the sky. That is Lion's Gate. But the importance about Lion's Gate this year more than any other year is because it is activating the Lyran or the Pashant's lake codes within us. That's been happening all year. Now, my astrology is a little bit different. I'm not going to be going into like relationships or whatever. This is all about the relationship with yourself. We're going to be talking about relationship of how the cosmos are to you so that maybe you can glean some wisdom and activate some parts within yourself so that you can become more full within yourself. So, anyway, the 8th of August is when the sun actually goes in the constellation Leo, but we're going to keep that. Leo is about the lion. The lion is about passion, it's about creativity, it's about love. But this love is really the love within yourself. And it's also activated because right now, Jupiter, right here, is going into the star portal of Sirius. Okay, now what does that mean? So we're going to talk about that. So Jupiter is in Cancer in Western astrology, but it's in Gemini within sidereal true sky. But that said, it's going into a gateway. It's going into a portal that's activating the Sirian portal. What does that mean? So it means that for the next 6 months off and on, that Sirius Stargate, that means that we are going to be working on our DNA systems, our blueprint body, but in conjunction to that, the Lyrians, which is an exact opposition to that, are also going to be working with you in opening up those DNA systems within you. These are ancient DNA systems. This came through, oh, I did a personal reading for somebody a few months ago. And what was activated was this Lyran portal that all of us are going through. And it's being activated by Jupiter going into the Sirian portal, and it's activated this Lyran portal. So the sun's going into Leo, which is all about the lion. It's all about what we're doing. It's all about our ingenuity. It's all about our passions of what we want to do. But Jupiter is activating the truth of how we are going to accomplish that. So Jupiter's going to be going back and forth over this Sirian portal from now until, I have it written down here, April 4th of next year. So right now, for the next few weeks, Jupiter's in the last week, this week, and the next few weeks, Jupiter is going to be Jupiter is the planet all about truth. It's all about expansion, but it's in the sign of Cancer. So how does that affect us? It's the truth of what our foundations are, of who we are. What is our matrix? So I have a few things. So we're expanding our truths to build a secure foundation that nurtures us and gives us a sense of safety. But I'm going to talk about safety because Yogananda's teacher, Sri Yuktavar, wrote a book called The Holy Science. And the very last line in that book of The Holy Science, a great sage, and I cannot pronounce his name, but I will attempt to do it. It's Shankaracharya. He wrote that, we're going through all this, we're fighting and fighting away. And when I give you his famous statement that he talked about, just know that it's true, but there's a way to overcome it. Life is always unsafe and unstable, like a drop of water on a lotus leaf. But through the company of a divine personage, even for a moment, can save us and redeem us. Life is always unsafe and unstable. So, this illusion of safety and stableness is all an illusion. So, how do we pretend or have pretense of knowing that we're going to be safe? I think it's building the form around us. It's like, I think the safety comes from within, of knowing that we are onto our purpose, the truth within us. So, Jupiter in Vedic astrology is called the guru. And the guru has the capacity to take one from darkness to light. The energies that are present at this time are to activate our fertile matrix to our purest and deepest essence and bring that to the light of day. That is going to give us a sense of foundation of safeness. We are working on that. We're working on and really following our truth, and knowing that we are following the truth is the only redemption for our safeness that we have. It just knows that we have each other, and we're working with unity consciousness now. So right now, Jupiter is expanding that foundation of discovering parts of ourself going into our blind spots and working with those to find out what the truth of those are so that we can have the capacity to change our blueprint body. Now, at the same time, Jupiter is still conjunct the Sirian Stargate, but in the physical sky, it's in the constellation of Gemini. So the energies of Cancer, which are nurturing, safeness, foundation, it's about motherhood, it's about birthing. All we're birthing our, new matrix forth. It's in the constellation of Gemini in sidereal true sky astrology. So how do we blend both of these together? So Jupiter being in sidereal true sky, where it is in the constellations now, we have the opportunity to express our wisdom with impeccability. That means that Gemini is all about communication, but the deeper level of communication is through life experience. We have developed wisdom. So we have to take our truth and through our life experience discover that wisdom within us and touch our soul expression, our soul essence. And that's what Cancer's all about. Cancer will tell you it's about the mother, but what is the mother? The mother births you. You're coming from her essence. You're coming from her ancient heritage. She's bringing you through all the heritages you've been through. She's bringing you through. I mean, I think we took several of us a couple years ago took a course from Z, Earth Star, and she was talking about the womb. And if you think about the womb of the mother, it is so miraculous. It's actually a stargate because there's conception in it. And all of a sudden, this life is coming through this womb. Where did that come from? That spark of life from her womb is actually a stargate. That's what the Cancerian energy is all about. We are birthing that essence, that matrix within ourselves forward. So, Jupiter in Cancer, we're expanding our matrix, our matter, our life force, our foundation through security and nurturing and a safe environment. And but remember, nothing is safe. So we have to create an environment that gives us a sense of security. And I think we do that through our life experiencing, know that Rocky film, we get up and we keep going forward. That devotion to our cause, a devotion to where we're going, a devotion to our truth. That's our safeness, knowing that nothing is going to stop us until we get to where we're going. So, our sun and Sirius, if you look at Sirius in the sky, they say that they're related. They're sister stars. For some reason, they're in. And if you go into esoteric astrology, there is a deep, deep connection between Sirius and the sun, our solar system. They're working together. And going back farther from, I have heard stories, and many of you have heard stories, that the Syrians came here to help develop our DNA structures in our human genome. So we are connected. We are very close to the Syrians. They are, even the Egyptians say that our mothers and our fathers, or we can even, I don't, it goes back farther than the Egyptians. It goes back farther and farther and farther. But the Syrians helped develop the matrix of who we are. And even though we are humans becoming more than that, their DNA is being activated with the DNA of the Lyrians. The Lyrians, no, that not the Lyrians. We have that. We have stars. We have that starseed heritage within us. But the Lyrians are also very protective of our human genome because they are very their their protective force takes us back to probably before the fall. Now, many of you have heard stories that we may have been very, very advanced humanoid personages before the fall. We had a high level of consciousness, and then the fall happened, and we were kind of like knocked back to square one again. But that happened on purpose, believe it or not. Then some nefarious other groups came in and decided that we were very vulnerable and wanted to overtake our human form to serve them at a higher cause. But there's more to us than meets the eye, and the fact that that particular DNA that the lion people preserved in a time lock many, many years ago is on the verge of being activated right now, with us opening up to the Sirian Stargate within us and Homo luminous on the verge of being born. It's all working together. All these little gears are coming, they're working together to have that happen. And that's happening through us devoting ourselves to the truth and working through our blind spots so that we can open up to the highest essence that we are becoming. So our sun and Sirius are working together and activating dormant holographic programs that the Lyrians have preserved within our DNA system. And as Jupiter opens us up to our truth, our matrix within ourselves, these dormant holographic programs that have been preserved many, many years ago have the capacity to be born right now. We are on the verge of being alchemists to birth us by being brave and proactive on this journey. That's getting up and keep working and going because we know we are going there. We know this deep within ourselves. I can't tell you, you've known this since the time you can remember. And if you're just waking up to it now, it's the time that you're supposed to wake up. But when you wake up now, you'll go back and you'll find out that you were that way when you were a young child anyway. You had these visions, and then they were kind of encrusted over by experience that you had to go through in order for you to have the capacity to open up new versions of yourself. So, Jupiter in Gemini in true sky astrology is also simultaneously at a deeper level helping us go into the divine heart of our sacred intelligence that is being activated within our heart. And we have the capacity to witness or objectively look at our life patterns and extract from our experiences and express our truest potential. That's all happening right now. We are distilling experiences from the present, ancestral, and ancient lineages. And Stacy, through your workshops and everything, you're going to help us get into those lineages because this is the most important time period to delve into those ancient lineages between our mother's line, our father's line, and our starseed line. All of that from now and the next 6 months is just a prime time for us to tap into this so that we can purify our bodies in all levels. So, we are birthing our innermost soul essence and authentic nature forward through self actualized actions. And that's what Jupiter is doing. That is what going into, that is the real reason now going into the Lion's Gate is more important this year than any other year because of the Sirius Stargate, the Lyrian Stargate, and going into the Lion's Gate portal. All of this is happening now, so it's more significant this year than any other year that we have gone through. So what we're doing is we have the capacity to go into our deep matrix and really look into anything that is not working for us at this time. This is the last part of us going inside of ourselves. And doesn't say in the future we won't do this, but it won't be, we'll go through it with more ease. We're kind of like plunging up the very last dredges of that matrix that we have been told that we are, that we really aren't. Now, I'm going to show you something else with this chart here. If you look at it, I have a cursor here. Now, this up here, you see this triangle. There's a triangle right here. It's connected, and this particular glyph here is Pluto, and Pluto is trining Uranus over here, and the midpoint between that is Saturn and Neptune right here. Now, I'm going to move you over there, and I'm going to, this is all going to be activated within the week because as I animate this, Mars here is going to be in an opposition to Saturn and Neptune. On August 8th, of all things, Lion's Gate. So if you see, Mars right here just moved into the first degree of Libra. It's an exact opposition to the Saturn-Neptune conjunction.
I don't think we're seeing what you're saying there, Rae Ellen. Did you make a change? Because I'm still seeing the original screen.
The original screen.
You said you activated it?
I animated it, but okay. If you, Sherry, look, see this glyph here, Mars at the very top. Do you see what Mars? Do you see that?
Your cursor's not even showing on. Can anyone else see it?
I see the
Okay.
thing. It's the red with the arrow, right? The circle.
Okay, the red with the arrow, but underneath it, is there a number?
The cursor, though. Yeah, 28.
What? 28. I guess it didn't move. I wonder
So
how I do that.
sometimes this happens to me often. I have to stop sharing and reshare. I don't know what it is. It's some glitch.
Okay.
Zoom.
Okay. So I'm going to stop share. Okay, and then I'm going to share it again. And then we're going to go to this glyph. And then I'm going to share it. And then if I animate it, can you see it now? Can you see at the top of the chart, it says
Yes.
Mars and it says 1?
Yes.
Good. Okay, we made it. We made it. Okay. So by August 8th, which is going to be this Friday, but we're in the energy of it now. We're talking about it now. Mars is an activator. It's an initiator. It's an activation. So this big, it's an exact grand trine with Pluto. That means favorable aspect. All this air is happening. So Mars is going to be trining Pluto. Pluto's the planet of transformation. Is also going to be trining Uranus. So by the end of the week, on a deeper level, we have the ability to shake up the way we think about things, bring it in a harmonious. We were able to take it in each hand and look at this side of it and look at that side of it, look at this side of it and that side of it, and transform it to something that will bring us to a greater purpose in how we are touching humanity. Now, that seems pretty impersonal, but we're all going to do this on our everyday level. We have the capacity to do that. Now, Mars is also in opposition. Opposition is usually a challenging aspect, but because it's in a harmonious aspect with Uranus over here, that's a little, it looks like, can you see the glyph? Okay, over here and Pluto over here, because it's in a harmonious aspect, this awareness is how we can take action to restructure part of our soul essence on an intuitive level so that we can find out a deeper part of ourselves so that we will be able to bring this forth in our everyday life. Now, I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that's what we're doing. Also, in the process of this, on August 11th, Mercury here has been retrograde in the sign of Leo. And so this past month, since it's gone retrograde, it's been all about how have we been nurturing our passions, our self-expression. This is what we have been in review about. Where have we been or not been creative? What do we really love expressing? That's what we are looking at. And going direct is going to bring, it's going to activate more of this Lion's Gate when it starts going direct again, even at a deeper level. And if you notice that on Friday, the 8th, I'll be very curious about what happens. Jupiter is going to be exactly in alignment with the Sirian Stargate. So we have Lionsgate going on. We had the Grand Trine, a Grand Air Trine of Mars, Pluto, and Uranus. So it's communicating at our everyday level to help humanity and seeing two sides of all situations. So if you happen to be in relationship with somebody and something gets blown out of proportion for some reason, see how it's affecting you. How centered are you in your soul? How centered are you within your heart? How centered are you within how you want to initiate to be? How centered are you within in your intuition? How do you want to structure that so that you can work within that in a balanced and harmonious way? What part of you has to shake up being right or wrong about something? Because a lot of us will say, God, I'm always wrong. Or all of you will, or many of you say, I always want to be right. I mean, we have to look at anything that's this way or that way. It's opening up to what's communicating with us so that we can come forward and transform that to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. That's what's happening right now. And this is also a foreshadowing of what's going to be happening for the next 6 months, because even though it looks like Saturn and Neptune are actually conjunct, they really aren't by these little degrees. They're not going to be exact degree until February. So this next week and a half is a foreshadowing of how we are going to be changing our matrix, how we are developing a foundation within ourselves so that we can birth a new system within our DNA, our new blueprint body, how we wish to become. Maybe a goal would be writing it down, because Mars, Pluto, and Uranus are all in air signs. It's all about the way we communicate at a higher level and a lower level, how we communicate in relationships, how we take action to do that. So within the next month or so, all these planets are going to go in retrograde motion. So Uranus is going to retrograde back into Taurus again. And believe it or not, it's activating the Pleiadian Stargate. Now, what are stargates really? Really, stargates are sensitive points in a harmonic relationship to star systems or our starseed origins. So, any of us that are sensitive to something beyond who we think we are and wanting to work with humanity as a whole are sensitive to the stargate energy, the portal energy. And actually, Uranus is still conjunct the Pleiadian stargate energy, which is all about our ancestral libraries. We have access now through meditation, through being still within ourselves, through the experiences that we have, to go into ancestral libraries. And that is also what Stacy can guide us into. What are our ancestral libraries? It's a great dynamic to get into at this time, because it's going to give us getting getting in touch with those ancestral libraries through our mother, our fathers, and our starseed origins. All of our give us insight of how we are going to transform that and go forward in the future and be something and create something that's totally new. We are manifesting our innate talents and letting go of what does not serve us. Anything that does not serve our self-worth, our value, who we are, who we want to be, who we are becoming. Really embracing the truth. That's Jupiter is the truth of our matrix, the truth of our biosuit, the truth of what our biosuit is giving us, the story within us. We can tap into that better than any time than we ever been able to in the past. Now, the last times that Jupiter, and maybe you can relate to this, some of them I can relate on a personal level when Jupiter was at this exact same degrees. So, back in 2013, Jupiter was in the same position. It was activating this. So, what happened to you in 2013? And if you don't remember, just go into your meditation and maybe it will be revealed to you. The time before Jupiter was in this position was in September of all times September 11th of 2001. The time before that was in 1989, October 17th of 1989. I know that day because personally, that was a day when I had a total health collapse. On that day of all days. And on that same day was the big earthquake out in California. The time before that was in 1978. And this is probably before many of you were born, so you don't remember that. But things go in cycles. In 1978, there was a big spiritual renaissance going on. There was lots of stuff going on. So we're going by cycles here and knowing that we are in the process of taking our DNA patterns, our matrix patterns, our blueprint body, we are looking at the truth of what serves us, what does not serve us, and we are upgrading that. And also these outer planets here are also giving us gifts that have not been experienced by our human form for eons and eons. And I'm not saying I'm saying eons. So this is very, very, very I can't say primitive man because we have never been primitive. We've just been at different levels. There was a time when in the study of the root races, there's our 7 root races. And the first root race, we were pretty transparent, okay? And the second root race was the Polarian. We were just large bodies. We started to come into physical form, and the third root race was the Lumerian root race. That's when our physical bodies started to become very solid. And then it became more solid in the Atlantean root race. Okay, and now we are in the Aryan root race that has kind of a bad connotation through the war and everything like that, but it's not meant to be that at all. It means that we are a stepping stone to going to who we are truly becoming an integrated biosuit of our physical, emotional, mental bodies and our spiritual bodies. And that's where we're going right now. And that's where all this Jupiter is bringing us to the truth of that by looking and blowing up where we are not aligned with that. Now, I know I'm going kind of far out here, but basically, if I did mundane astrology talking about Venus in Cancer or Mercury in Leo or all that meant, I think all of us can utilize that information, but I think we are all here for a larger cause. And all of us are working on ourselves anyway. So, this greater cause, we are all tapping into this in some way or another. And how do we do this? How do we really do this? And we talk about this all the time. We're journaling, we're meditating, we're drinking water, we're nurturing ourselves. We're surrounding ourselves with like-minded people. And if we can't do that all the time, most of the time, because many of us are in relationships and many people are not on the same page as we are. But I think each and every one of us here have been on this mission since we can remember. We came in with this mission. It's time to entrain our rhythms with people that are of like-minded. Alone time is very, very important. And I think I said this, drinking water and programming that water. Many of us know that through studying Emoto and through Veda Austin, that water is an elemental divine being that is wishes to serve us. And all we have to do is talk to it. Bringing the breath in, taking that pranic energy in, bringing in the energy from the stargates that are activated through the prana of the sun. The sun is a great lens and a disk for all of this to come through that's lighting up our whole solar system. And this lens of the Sirian Stargate, the Lyrian Stargate, the Pleiadian Stargates, which are all active right now, is all through breathing. It's through meditation. It's conscious breathing. All you have to say is, what do you want to show me today? What do I need to know? So that's the bottom line of what's happening right now. And this particular combination, this Grand Trine, is being activated and hit off by Mars right now. So the Lion's Gate is really in full force, like it's never been in force before. It's activating, and this particular trine between Pluto and Uranus. I'm not exactly sure how often that happens, but not very often. And this particular configuration that we are looking at has probably not happened this way for over 500 years. So that might give you some indication of how important it is. And this Saturn-Neptune conjunction, which is a birth of structuring our soul at a whole new level, giving birth to our integrated life form, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies, and coming through the heart essence. This particular configuration has not happened. Many astrologers don't even know when it happened last. They can't even track it back to find out. So that I mean, at the Saturn Neptune conjunction happens every so many years. I think it happened, but in the sign of Aries, it's no one knows when that happened last. And I'm sure there are probably some scientists that could go back and tell you exactly when that happened, but it's been a very, 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 very long time ago. Saturn's all about structure. Neptune is about our intuition, but it's dissolving the ego. It's in Aries. Saturn is about restructuring the ego so that we can come forth with our soul consciousness. We're defining that. And we have the help of Pluto through transforming how we're going to do that for humanity in a unified way. It's sextile Uranus. How are we going to communicate that? How are we bringing our impeccability forth? Now, Stacy pointed out recently that Chiron just went retrograde. That's really important as well, because what we're doing is Chiron is in the sign of Leo. It was discovered in 1977, and from 1968 to 1977, Chiron was also in Leo. And that was the beginning of this cycle that we are. And it wasn't discovered until 1977. Chiron is about our deepest wound. And it's been going through Aries for the past few years. So all of us have been discovering what is our core wound in our egocentric self. And going retrograde gives us a chance to determine from now until January 2nd, and when it goes direct again, of where our core wounds are. So it's giving us another gift of discovering that. And that's why that little blip that I showed you on Rocky was so important, because he was knocked down and he got back up again. And like I said, it's all about fighting, but we're fighting on a different level. We are spiritual warriors, every one of us here.